Hey y'all, it's Shalonda. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time and I'm so happy to come back and talk to y'all. So I wanted to give an update on what is going on with me and what has been going on within the last, I think it's been about a year and a half since I last posted a video. My last video, y'all, was about me quitting my job as a teacher, and then I had posted one more video after that, and then y'all just went ghost on this channel, and I've done that a couple times, but I remembered I had created a video last summer. So right now it's just now August 1st of 2023. I had created this video with the intention of posting it, saying like what was going on in my life then, and I also had explained what had happened with my business. And I'm going to insert that video here because I actually did a pretty good job explaining what had happened, and I don't want to have to reinvent the wheel and like retell the story because I kind of didn't even remember I said all this at that time. So let me go ahead and put this in for y'all, and then I'll come back and talk about what's going on with me now. Y'all, this video is a little bit unplanned, but I told myself that I would make a video, start making videos, so I just wanted to come back, give a life update. Am I working? Am I back to teaching? Am I still running my business? How your girl is doing? So let's just get into it, y'all. I first want to say that no, I am not back to teaching. I have not gone back to teaching. There are times where I was just tempted to maybe go ahead and do some substitute teaching just to make ends meet, but I never had to do that, and so, or I never did do that. So I am not back to teaching. I go back to work. No, I have not gone back to work yet, y'all. I'll take that back, y'all. So back in January, or I should say back when I was teaching, I used to do this seasonal job. It's like a test scoring job, and I would do that to make extra money to supplement my teaching income. So when I quit teaching for good and then started running my business, to kind of supplement money and make sure I was having money, I did do the test scoring job, y'all, and I did it for 2 weeks full time, and I quit it, y'all. And I quit it because all I could think about when I was working that job was to be working on my business. I was like, okay, I'm putting all this time into this job, I could be putting this time into my business. And so I quit the job. So anyway, y'all, how's the business doing? So y'all know that I had always worked, and I was able to supplement my business or pay for my business with my career. And then when I quit, but what was happening is, because I had a career, I never really had to learn any business acumen, any real understand how business work, understand how branding work, and I never really put in the time because there was really no reason for me to invest in it because I always had the safety net of having my job. I quit my job to work on my business, and then I was working on it, and then when I got to say around, I was starting to learn a lot. Like I was learning things I was like, I never really understood about business. And then when I started to get past the holidays, I was like kind of stuck, because what was happening was I recognized like, oh, you need to do this particular thing in order to start making money in the business. But by this time I had already not been working 6 months, and then I was starting to run out of money to be able to fund the business and take care of myself and my home. And of course, what's going to come first is myself and my home. I did my taxes, it's like the end of February, and when I did my taxes, I had recognized like all the money I had put into the business that previous year, the year 2021. That doesn't count all the money I put in 2018 when I started, or 2019 or 2020. This is the money I put in 2021. And at that moment when I did my taxes, I was like, okay, are you going to continue or are you going to stop? But what was really happening was it was like spring, and I needed to get spring inventory. But what I had learned was like, even if I had got that spring inventory, if I hadn't learned yet how to get people to my site, it wouldn't matter to get the spring inventory. So I was kind of at a crossroads. I'm like, do you buy spring inventory, or do you pay for ads to get people to your site, or do you pay your damn bills? And I was like, of course I'm going to pay my bills. And so at that moment, I decided to just stop working on the store. One thing, like in hindsight, I remember something I had told myself. In hindsight, I said, when I quit my job, I'm gonna go all in on the business. I'm gonna spend the money, I'm gonna do whatever it is, because I know me, I can always make the money back. It wasn't really about the money. But I had forgotten that I had told myself that until I did my taxes. So I'm gonna say, if there's anything for y'all to remember, is to do your taxes and write down kind of your process of what you're planning to do in your business or in your life, so you can know, kind of have a path to follow and know what you're doing and what you're thinking. I hope this is making sense, y'all. And it was a really hard decision for me to stop, because on some level I started to mix the business with kind of my own identity and personality, and quite frankly, y'all, I hated that, because I never felt like teaching was my identity, and I never felt like Shug was my identity, but I felt kind of like it was connected to my purpose or something like that. And I really had to get out of that, because my faith is in God, and whatever he's directing me to do, he's directing me to do, and he can always pivot me if I'm if I'm out of alignment, he can pivot me. So I had to check myself, like, girl, you don't have to continue with this business if it's not working for you, if it's not working, if you're not figuring out, and if it's causing you stress. What's going on for me next? I'm not really sure. That's a lie. I am. I have an idea what I have next. I have a business idea of what I'm going to do next. And I also have an interview. I haven't told any of my friends about this yet, y'all. And I'm going to go to the interview. And I think it'll be good for me, even if what I decided was I'm not going to look at this because there's no guarantee I'll get the job. But I'm going to continue to work towards this business idea. Even if if I interview and get the job, I'm still going to work toward this business idea, because I know in my heart I want to be an entrepreneur. But I also another thing I learned being an entrepreneur is, like, I get really stressed if I don't have consistent income or if I don't have health insurance. That's something that stresses me to the point that it's not good. So I think it's okay if I get the job and work towards my goals of being an entrepreneur. So right now, I know in that video I had mentioned that I had an interview for a new job, and y'all, I actually got that job. I started the job August 31st of last year, so I've been there now almost a year. It's a job that would support like the teaching field and other kind of social services type of industries, and so that's the job I'm in. So I do still get to work with high school students, and I'm really excited about that, because that is something that is near and dear to my heart. So when I had my Shug business, like, I want to give a little more context to that business. And so that business never took off. The point of that business, I was always going to use that business as like a launching board to kind of fund my other social endeavors. So I always wanted to work with kids. I always wanted to work with high schoolers, either with disabilities or at risk, and like teach them job skills. And my boutique was going to be the place where they got taught that information. And so without the boutique taking off, I never could do the other things that I desire to do with young people. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about, y'all, sorry, I'm just thinking about like what I talked about in the video, was when I said, oh, my next venture. So one thing that I recognized recently that I didn't recognize then was like this need to kind of always be in like this, what's my next business? What's my next move? What's my next move? And I don't think that's bad per se. However, I feel like it has to be for the right reasons, and you can kind of just get caught up in this entrepreneur frenzy. And I think it's important to step back, and I kind of touched on this, and like assess who you are and your identity separate from that. And so I had some time to think about that and say, like, you don't have to necessarily like jump into the next business. During that video, I think I was talking about maybe trying, like, the funny thing is, like, when I rewatched that video just recently to upload it to this, I was like, what business was I talking about? Child. And I think it was maybe like blogging or freelance writing, because I've always liked to like write in a more like an analytical way. And I'm thinking that's probably like was the next venture I was thinking about. But I got the job, and I never followed up on that business. Once I start working, it gave me some breathing room to just say, you don't have to know the next thing. Another thing that I want to talk about, y'all, is that another reason why I went back to work that I remembered, like when I officially said, like, I'm going, because when I had closed my business, I hadn't decided at that point that I was going to go back to work. I was still thinking about like the next thing I could do to work from home, to work for myself. And what happened was I had gotten an email from the U.S. Department of Education, and I don't remember ever getting this type of email from them, and it talked about the public service loan forgiveness and how I could potentially be eligible for that. But you had to be working in public service, which I am. And so I also had to like get back into work so that I could apply for that, because I could get my student loans forgiven after a certain amount of time. So that was also a reason why I went back to work. But I forget that that's also a reason why I went back to work. I be forgetting that in telling this story. For saying all that I went back to work, that I closed the business down. And I closed my business down in February. And honestly, I don't judge me. The website is not totally closed because I still had inventory, and I have slowly moved it over to one of my resale platforms that I used before I even had the boutique, and I never moved all the stuff over. There's a lot of like emotions involved with that, and every month I'm just like, I'm gonna shut it down for real, and then Shopify will charge me another amount, and I'm like, okay, then I'll just wait till the end of the month, and it's just like an ongoing cycle that I want to break. And anyway, so this month, or July, was supposed to be the month that I actually closed it, but we're now in August. And my next thing, like, I do want to still be an entrepreneur, but now I am trying to figure out like what fits best with my life. What I know for sure is that I'm going to, unless something happens where I end up with a large lump sum of money, I'm going to be working probably for the next 2 to 3 years. Right now I won't focus on getting a business, but what I do want to focus on for myself and for this channel is talking about the things that are important to me right now. And one of those things that are important to me, and I touched on this in the video that I did last year, was that finances are extremely important to me. I'm not trying to come up here and say like I'm gonna be a financial guru, but one thing that I'm gonna talk about in some future videos is some things that I have not done financially. And one of them is for saving for my retirement. Y'all, Lord. Moving forward, I'm gonna talk about things that are true to my life right now, and not really focus a lot on things that I hope to do in 2 or 3 or 4 years down the line, and just kind of focus on things that are important to me right now and hope that it resonates with somebody else. So anyway, y'all, and thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, because I do have some good content coming, or just stick around for it. And I hope to see y'all soon. Okay, bye.